It's one thing everyone involved in the conversation on public school reopenings can agree on. Something needs to be done to fix the poor conditions plaguing the Guam Department of Education campuses. But what island leaders seemingly can't see eye to eye on is the timeline of how to go about doing just that. Education Oversight Chair Senator Chris Barnett authored Now Public Law that states at the start of the school year, GDOE schools must comply with health and sanitation rules and regulations set by public health. But Governor Guerrero, who did not take action of the bill that lapsed into law, argues the stiff timeframe, quote, paralyzes schools, rendering them unable to open for the upcoming school year.
Yes, the requirements for sanitation, comply with sanitation standards should not be compromised at all. I'm very much for those rules and regs, but it has to be reasonable and it has to be practical. And it cannot be a consequence of closing schools down without giving them the time and the opportunity to fix it. So current laws, without this law of his, does allow that.
As the clock ticks closer to the August 9th scheduled start date for students, the governor telling KUAM the only immediate viable solution now is for Senator Barnett and his colleagues at the legislature to fix the law.
I know the importance of getting the work done, and I totally support that. But we need to be real here. We need to be reasonable. We need to be compassionate, and we need to make sure that we don't tie the hands of those that can make it work. And that's what his law is doing. It's tying the hands of public health, the schools, superintendent, and management. So he needs to go back and do something about making it more reasonable and making it much more, I think, applicable to the realities and the circumstances of what we're faced with.
In response, Barnett telling KUAM he's simply listening to the realities and circumstances of parents and students, those he says he has been speaking with who have shared the concern of children attending classes with unsafe conditions.
Listen to the people. That's what I'm doing. The people of Guam, especially the public schools, the parents, the students. They want our kids to go to schools and facilities that meet basic health and safety guidelines, and that's all this is about. I don't think anybody is comfortable with us going backwards like the governor has suggested, and so we're just going to keep moving forward. And I would just ask if the administration is not going to help the schools, please don't hinder.
The governor earlier today also dispelling all public criticism that her administration does not support Guam DOE.
We as an administration are supporting GDOE, although GDOE is not under my direct supervision and authority, but we're in there pushing money to them. We're in there helping them with their mold remediation. We're in there helping them cleaning the debris from their schools. So again, to make the allegation that the administration doesn't support GDOE is totally a misplacement of truth and facts.
Meanwhile, the governor and the Education Oversight Chair both admittedly having differing interpretations of the law.
On the subject of variances, the Guam Department of Education, I've always been in close communication with them. They have met with the Department of Public Health every week since Public Law 37-4 was enacted into law. And Public Health has never said anything about not being able to grant variances. In fact, they have granted several variances. And so I disagree with the governor's interpretation of the law.
Senator Barnett is out there saying, well, they can just get a variance. But it's very obvious he doesn't understand his bill or his law. Because in his law, there's a provision there that says variances can only be done if variances are prohibited if the non-compliance is due to sanitation issues, or if the non-compliance results in a sanitary permit being suspended. And that's what ties it up. Because a lot of these schools, their demerits are based on sanitary issues. And so as a result, they cannot be passed. Therefore, they cannot get a variance. And I don't think he truly understood that part of his provision.
Nevertheless, Barnett says the momentum he anticipates is going to get schools into compliance. He's commending GDOE on working hard to open as many schools as possible. Barnett adding he's always said he's willing to work with the governor.
The governor and lieutenant governor should stop attacking senators who are trying to help our public schools and our public school students, and instead join us in attacking the challenges and the barriers that are preventing us from getting as many schools open. One of the things the governor and lieutenant governor can do is they pledged that they were going to work feverishly with the Department of Public Health to assist in any way that they can to help GDOE. And I just ask that they come through with that promise.
As for what the administration is doing to get public health the help it needs,
any update on hiring more DEH inspectors?
They are. They're working very hard to, the position description also is a little bit restrictive because it says you have to have 1 year of inspection before you even become that. So even if we went and worked with GCC to do the boot camp and get those inspectors out, it still can't be met. Right? So there's a lot of moving parts that need to be really looked at. But I'll tell you this, they cannot do it by August 9th or 11th when schools open.